Helen Searle.
Thanks, Ben. Yes, self-confessed sports fanatic, and my children didn't have much choice. I think they had bouncing balls before they could walk, so they're right into it as well. But one of the reasons I changed career from education was to spend more time with my family so that I could work from home and be involved with a lot of the activities that our children do. And for those of you that know me and see me around the sporting traps, you know that we are very actively involved in our children's lives. This is my online store. So my online store, my website, operates in all of the countries that ACN operates in. So I hold the telecommunications specialty for this chapter, but I have telecommunications services in 25 countries at the moment, and we launch into Japan in 4 weeks' time. So it's possible that you could give me a referral internationally as well, and that's why BNI is fantastic, because I actually hooked up with some people internationally through BNI as well. Now, a lot of you know me, I've been a member for 4 years of this chapter, so there are some new people in the room, so I'm going to go through a few things extra that, how can you hear about referral possibilities in the community or in your business or friendship groups? Because, telecommunications is an essential part of our life. And I know if I leave home without my mobile phone, I usually do an illegal U-turn to go back and get it. So it's, our internet connection, our mobile phones, our landlines, lots of those essential services are what I deal in. So things that you can be listening for or asking for in the community are things like, do you know when the NBN is coming to your area? Now for me, the NBN is actually a bit of a life-changing possibility for our family, because over the next 3 to 4 years, over 10 million houses and businesses must change over to the NBN. You do not have a choice. So we now work on the analogue system. It's about to go digital. So it's like the set-top boxes, how we had to change over, our TVs. The NBN is the same. So most of us currently are on, except for Dave, who's a customer of ACN, on the NBN already because he moved into a new estate. Most of us are on ADSL. Now the ADSL system runs on the old copper network, which is antiquated and being changed over to high-speed fibre optic. So every single one of you over the coming some months, if you live in Port Arlington, Drysdale, Clifton Springs, down the Bellarine or Surf Coast, we're talking 90 days. Anywhere else, Geelong, you've got about a 2-year wait, but the rest of Australia should all be done by 2020. Every single house and business will be on the national broadband network by that time. So for me, that means, there's another 10 million customer possibilities out there, which I'm hoping that you guys might be able to find a few of. You don't need to find 10 million. So you can be talking to people. Oh, you're moving house? Is that you in an NBN area? Because this week I had somebody who'd moved house into a new estate, didn't realise that they hadn't asked the builder about, the internet, and when they got there, rang me and said, I'm in an NBN area, can you hook me up? And we found out the builder hadn't made the house NBN enabled, and it wasn't in the contract. It cost them $800 to get that little bit of extra cabling to the house. So if someone's moving to a new house, a new estate, make sure they check in the contract. I'm sure it's in Scots and it's all covered. Definitely give me the thumbs up. That should be part of the contract, but if you don't ask, you don't know. So, and it was a delay. It's going to take, it was 3 to 4 weeks then for us to get that connection. So I had no internet for those 4 weeks they were in the property. So things like that, you can look after people by asking those questions. But even in existing residences, certainly the Bellarine Peninsula for me is an amazing hotspot at the moment, because everyone's about to change over to the NBN. Now you do have an 18-month transition period, so your internet and your landline won't stop working right as soon as the NBN becomes active, but it will in 18 months from the connection date or the active date in your neighbourhood. And if you are moving house into an area that's not a new area, like an existing house, there is going to be a period of cease sale where you cannot get a ADSL connection, and you might not be able to get an NBN connection for a month as well. So you need to be a bit careful if you're moving in the next period of time. So you can help a lot of people to avoid those pitfalls if you know someone's moving house, particularly from not into a new estate. So just talking about the NBN, because most people, I did an information session last week at Drysdale with 180 pensioners and they didn't even know what was happening. They did not know why people were digging in the streets. They were getting phone calls from companies saying, do you want fast internet? We'll put it on now. And they didn't, there's a lot of, smoke and whistles going on about the NBN, and some people at these times like this get taken advantage of. Things like, are you thinking about getting a new mobile phone? So I always look at people's phones when I'm with them. Now, you could be doing an appointment with one of your colleagues and they're sitting there, with an iPhone 5, or they're sitting there with, an old phone, and you could be just saying, look, are you thinking about upgrading your phone soon? I can hook you up with somebody who's got, the best value plans on the new 6s on the market. So I'm always looking at those little things. It's something like people put it down often when you're in your appointments, so you can look at those things as well. How long has it been since you've had a health check on your bills? I'm happy to do a health check on anyone's bills anytime. I just need a copy of their latest bills, no obligation. It's just like a quote. It takes me 5 minutes to do it most of the time, but I find lots of things. I find people that have got 2 landlines they didn't know about in their property and they're using one. I find that people haven't had a discount on their energy for 7 years and they probably could have been getting 30%. They're just little things that people often don't want to talk to telemarketers at 6 o'clock. They don't want to answer the door and they don't want to have anyone cold call them, but they're quite happy to have someone sit with them at their kitchen table or their office and go through their bills. Do you or your children ever go over your data on mobiles? Most of my mobile phone customers at the moment are teenagers who go over their data because my kids are involved. They're all teen. I've got 4 kids between 13 and 18 now, so all of their friends are data hungry. And they know that my kids have got lots of data. We data share on one family account with 40 gigabyte of data. So my kids don't ever cost me excess data, but my friends' kids often do. So in fact, tomorrow night I've got an appointment with a family who told me their bill was just $300 because they had excess data, and I'll cut it to $140 for the 4 mobiles. So they're pretty happy, and doubled their data as well. So, if you've got, especially teenagers or young people, but even older people, in the next 12 months, they're talking about us using 81% more data on mobile phones. Okay, so whatever you're using now, you need to sort of factor that in, that a lot more people are going to be using the internet through a mobile device, certainly over the coming years. So they're questions that you can ask people or stimulate discussion. All right, my bread and butter. So these are basic things. So in BNI we talk about who are your everyday referrals, things that keep the cash register going over if you're in a business or whatever. So obviously you guys that are in the room, your family and your friends, I'm happy to do those health checks, have a look at what you're doing. Many of you are already my customers. Some of you have been my customers for 4 years. So it's fantastic when you've got a customer and all you have to do is virtually update them when a new plan comes out. In fact, we did that for Dave. Dave was already an NBN customer. We had a price reduction in our NBN plans, so we just made a 3-way phone call, hooked him up, got a $15 per month discount on the plan he was already paying. And that's the sort of thing I'm looking for all the time that you won't get the phone call from a traditional telco about. People moving homes, they're great for me. Buying a home, building a new home. Anyone that's complaining about lack of customer service or complaining about their phone plan, going over data, not getting good treatment, any of those things. Guests to our chapter, they're great for me because guests will often say to me, oh, you do telecommunications, I need a new phone or whatever, so it's great that you keep involving guests as well. Your work colleagues, this is something probably we can all improve on. Some of you work in offices with people, and just even bringing them as a visitor here, or in saying to them, here's the cards of, the people that are in my network. I know Chris Reed, he's not here today, but he has this really well. He's got all our cards up in his practice. And he's often, I've been in there because my kids live in there and my son's always in his chamber, he's always talking about us to people that come in because they'll go, oh, what's that bit person? And he'll say, oh, they're in my networking group. So, people in your office or in your workplace as well, it'd be great to meet with them. My cream, so real estate agents, financial planners, accountants, because they've got customers and they often see their billing, they often see, you're an accountant but you're looking after people's finances. But, what about offering to cut back on their expenses as well, which has a direct impact on their bottom line as well. Businesses with multiple franchises or multiple premises. So if you know somebody that's got, a Subway, I actually just did a quote for a Subway guy that owns 6 Subways recently, because we can do mobile corporate deals with Vodafone for 10 devices or more that the prices are not even advertised. you know, they probably get some steak knives and things as well. But it's also, you know, it's something that I don't negotiate with. It's our Vodafone corporate headquarters in Tasmania. But anything with 10 devices or more is absolutely gold for me. Businesses with multiple staff as well that need mobile. So if you know a company that pay for the mobile phones for their business, that's another one that's a really important one for me. Sporting clubs, fundraising possibility, electricians, because I spoke to an electrician the other day. I know Raj knows all about it anyway, but a lot of electricians are expected to be experts in rates of electricity. And they always ring me and go, oh, I know I'm a great electrician, but I haven't got a clue. And everyone always says to me, who should I be with? So they're good for me as well. Phone repair shops, they're great as well because they're repairing phones and they can say to people, what plan are you on? My dream, body corporates. I've actually just quoted for somebody with a body corporate that has 212 landlines. They're paying $49 a month. With Telstra, they're in elevators, common areas, they don't even use them, and we've just saved them $18,000 on the quote. I would love to talk to another body corporate. New estates, NBN, Japanese contacts because we're expanding there, retirement villages, nursing homes and NBN areas. Thank you, I'm Helen Searle from ACN.